Hey guys, welcome to Fat Loss Made Easy. This is Coach Bill. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning so far. Obviously, you guys can tell it's time for me to shave. It looks like my beard is starting to grow out. So today, guys, is a topic that isn't covered very often by any of the health professionals or really not too many people, too many of the health gurus are covering this either. A lot of the health coaches don't really bring this up, but it's a very serious matter with the American people today. And that is a fatty liver disease, which they call a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And according to science, and I'll refer to some science here, it's on the rise. And that makes a lot of sense because here in the United States right now, we have an epidemic in overweight and obesity amongst the young and the old. And most of you can notice that yourselves when you go out in a large group or you go to a large event or even go down to the beach or a water park. You'll notice that the majority of the American public, have a large amount of excess belly fat. When somebody has a large amount of excess belly fat or even a starting of belly fat, that really puts them in a dangerous environment. And science has been trying to tell us this for years, actually. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about fatty liver disease and how important it is to understand the seriousness of it and the complications that are involved when you do have it long term. By the way, guys, I am drinking my coffee, but it's not my fat coffee today. Yesterday, Friday, was date night for Emily and I, and after I worked out on Friday, it was around, got done about 1 or 1:30. When I got in the car with Emily, I said, you know what sounds really good for me breaking my fast today? And I know this probably wasn't the proper way to break my fast, but I said I would really like a Jersey Mike's Super Supreme Club with some balsamic vinegar in it. And she looked at me like, are you kidding me? I said, no, doesn't that sound good? And she said, oh, absolutely it does. And she said, but probably we shouldn't do that. And I said, no, let's go ahead and do it. So we did it. We went ahead, I didn't order a large one. I had a regular size one. Then I had a fat coffee, my protein fat coffee around 4. And then we had our date night around, I think we ate around 6:30 or 7. And I had a greasy old hamburger with some fries. So today is Saturday, and normally I only do a 20-hour fast today, but I'm going to go ahead and do a 24-hour fast today. Burn off some of that excess carbs. I'm sure I know I'm in fat burning now because it only takes, because we are so fat adapted, it only took us most likely 2 to 3 hours to get back into fat burning. Last night was not a good sleep night. Whenever I indulge in a lot of starchy carbs like that, I don't really sleep good at night, and I'm overheated as well. And that's because my metabolism is working so efficiently that I freaked it out when I ate those carbs. So basically what I did is I fired up my internal furnace, and my metabolism was trying to burn off all those extra carbs as it's not used to having. So guys, let's get back to the topic about the fatty liver disease. Now, what makes this fatty liver disease so dangerous is people that are overweight, 15, 20 pounds or more, most likely are in some stage of fatty liver. And those that are overweight more than that are definitely in some kind of stage of fatty liver. The problem is that the health professionals are saying that most of the public, they don't even realize they have a fatty liver because most of them aren't educated and most of them aren't told by their doctors when their doctors explain to them, well, you're a little overweight, your cholesterol's high, your triglycerides are high. Well, the problem is that they need to go further with the discussion and say, we might want to do a MRI or a ultrasound, and let's check your liver to see if you have fatty liver disease, which is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But what makes this very, very dangerous is most of the public who is overweight or obese, they don't even realize they have it, and there's some major, major side effects when you have it for long term, 3, 4, 5, 6 years or longer. It's a way to get yourself into full-blown type 2 diabetes and get yourself into kidney failures as well, and liver failure, big time. And so doctors, I've heard some doctors refer to a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease as the silent killer. And the reason for that is because because they don't know they even have it, and as the years go on with it, it accelerates to it, and there actually is a point of no return. But before I get into that, let me talk a little bit about the good news. So you've been overweight for a few years, even a decade or so, and after listening to this video, you're thinking to yourself, well, can it be reversed? And yes, it absolutely can be reversed. It takes a long time to get yourself into a unreversible environment to where your liver's actually going to fail, but hopefully when you go in for your blood test or you see your doctor, he is going to catch it by the liver markers going up. Hopefully he'll catch it, and hopefully he'll be educated enough, which sadly a lot of them aren't, educated enough to have a ultrasound or an MRI done of your liver to see how serious or the damage you have done to your liver. Hopefully that'll happen. But the good news is, if you do catch it in time before it's irreversible, then it is very easy to reverse. And you can reverse it very quickly, even if you've had it for a few years or even a decade. Now, Emily and I have an online personal coaching website or a personal coaching business, and we use 3 ways in our program to help people lose weight, add lean muscle, even if you're a senior or older, and actually reverse. In the last few years, we've helped a lot of people reverse type 2 diabetes, and we've helped a lot of people reverse a fatty liver. Because when you reverse type 2 diabetes, you're also going to reverse your fatty liver. Besides, if you've got diabetes, most likely the root cause of that is obviously hormonal, but the other root cause is overweight. And so if you're reversing your if you have type 2 diabetes, most likely you have a fatty liver because you're overweight for a long period of time in order to get that type 2 diabetes. That can be reversed very easily. But we use 3 different protocols or 3 different methods to do that, because we want to escalate and reverse a fatty liver or a type 2 diabetes as quickly as possible so that you don't get some of those side effects. And so the 3 options or the 3 protocols that we use, because all 3 of them, according to science, and I'll give you a little bit of science on it, but all 3 of them, according to science, help to reverse a fatty liver or type 2 diabetes. And the byproduct of reversing a fatty liver and reversing type 2 diabetes is fat loss. I didn't call it weight loss. I'm calling it fat loss because that's what we want. We want to lose fat inches, and people get so consumed in weight loss, and they get on the scale and they're not losing weight, and they're doing everything they think they are doing it right, and they're still not losing weight, and the scale is not the way to do it. It's inches. You want to lose fat inches. That's what you want to lose. So why not measure fat inches and stay off the scale? And how do you measure fat inches? It's very simple. find a tight pair of pants as you're going through your journey of losing fat inches, and judge your progress by your tight pair of pants. So let me give you an idea of one of the simplest and easiest and fastest ways to start. You got to start somewhere when you're looking to reverse a fatty liver disease or type 2 diabetes. And there is a place to start. You have to start right away. Matter of fact, it's number 2. It's actually the essence of life. You can't survive without it for more than a few days. And it's number 2 on the health circle there, because number 1 obviously is breathing. You got to breathe good air, right? Some of us may be breathing bad air, but that's another topic. But you got to breathe air, right? You can't survive. The number 2 thing is you have to have water. That's the essence of life. You got to have it. But today's water is deeply, deeply chemically induced, causing it to be very unhealthy. Most all of you are drinking unhealthy, contaminated water. If you're drinking water from your tap, or if you're drinking water from a bottle, plastic bottle, you're drinking contaminated water. They're all contaminated, and more research by the media is coming out showing people what are the side effects of a long-term use of drinking contaminated water. So I don't know, it's been about 11 years, maybe 12 years. Emily and I and our family changed our water to the most healthiest water on the planet. Guys have heard me talk about it. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of scientific case studies that were done all over the world, proving that molecular hydrogen H2, which is the strongest antioxidant on the planet, is the best drinking water you can possibly be drinking. And because of the molecular hydrogen H2 molecule itself and why it's so powerful, because it has a lot of healing effects on many disease models, and it actually will hydrate the cell at the cellular level, because molecular hydrogen H2 is the smallest molecule in existence. And in 2003, 2 scientists discovered that each cell in our body has water channels, and if the molecules are too big, the water cannot get into those cells to flush out your normal environmental toxins. So bottled water, city water, any water, all the juices, all the sugary drinks, the molecules are way too big, and you don't get the amount of water you really need, and that's why this country is so dehydrated, and that's why chronic dehydration is on the rise also, especially all you seniors out there. You're not drinking enough water because it's natural. Well, as you get older, you don't want the water, but if you drink the water consistently over and over again, the body then eventually changes itself and it wants more water, so you have to drink more water. But the problem is you're drinking the bad water. And science is now showing one of the simplest and fastest way, and what you need to do right off the bat is change the type of water you're drinking and actually drink hydrogen-rich water. And there's a actual molecular hydrogen scientist who focuses mainly on molecular hydrogen H2, because now they have so many new case studies showing the health benefits of this molecule, that he's working very closely here in the United States with the Japanese researchers in Japan. We all know Japan's way ahead of us, but he is bringing all the research here also and educating the health professionals here in the United States. And here's one here. This is now, when I'm referring to a scientific case study, I'm referring to journals. These are actually scientific research journals. They're not blog posts. And you guys have heard me talk about this 100 times. I don't go to Google, and I don't Google the information because I'm not going to get the right answer. And besides, it's not on a scientific site. I take my information off of scientific sites. I got multiple ways of looking through different sites, and I'm able to I understand them now, so I'm able to understand the bad information and weed them out. And I also will go after the research and research that research, make sure there's follow-up research on it. So here's one that was published in PubMed.gov, which is accumulation of all kinds of different scientific case studies, real abstracts, real studies with clinical research with people, not rats. I'm not using rats, I'm using people. And this one, and this is probably why most of you haven't heard about this, because it's really so new. The research on molecular hydrogen H2 in our drinking water really didn't come to the United States until around 2007, and when scientists and researchers start to introduce those case studies from other countries like Japan and the UK and stuff. But what's sad is molecular hydrogen H2 has been in water since the beginning of time, but because we've contaminated our water and we're going through these filtration plants, it's actually taken the actual good minerals, most of the good minerals, out of the water, and that's why, you're not going to get the molecular hydrogen H2 itself. But researchers and the Japanese discovered a way to convert the city water that you're drinking, because it still has natural minerals, and you can't have molecular hydrogen H2 without natural minerals, but they devised a device that sits on your sink and attaches to your faucet, and using electricity, just like nature, that's how nature produces it, is the electricity that's in the ground. But they have taken and they've developed a device known as an electrolysis device that will convert your mineralized city water, take the contaminants out of it, and then convert it into molecular hydrogen H2. And that's what we do, is we show people how it's done. And it's a very simple test. We have a meter, and the meter will measure the antioxidants that are in good and bad water. And if your water does not measure a negative charge, it's contaminated with chemicals. So molecular hydrogen H2 has a negative charge. It's an antioxidant and has a negative charge. That's how simple it is to test. So that's what we do. We show people that. But science is saying that this scientific study was done actually in 2019, and I'll read you what the study consists of. Hydrogen-rich water reduces liver fat accumulation and improves liver enzyme profile. So the liver enzyme profile is how the doctor is going to be able to tell what your liver functions are. If the markers are too high, there's an issue, and you got to find the root cause of that issue. Okay, so the accumulation improves liver enzyme profiles in patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. A randomized controlled pilot trial. Now, if any of you know anything about research, you really want to look for the clinical trials, the clinical pilot trials. Those are the ones you want to find. Now, it also says here, while non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which they abbreviate it to NAFLD, is rapidly becoming the most common liver disease worldwide. Now, this is where I'm saying. They're saying it's becoming the most common liver disease worldwide. And why is that? It makes sense, because the United States is got an obesity and overweight epidemic going on right now because of the standard American diet, and because the kids especially are not outside exercising. What are they doing? They're on their phones and they're on their computers, and they're not outside doing anything. Molecular hydrogen H2, okay, that advanced lipid and glucose metabolism could be appropriate to tackle this complex condition. It is a complex condition, but like I said, it can be reversed very easily. The aim of this study was to analyze the effects of a 28-day hydrogen-rich water intake on liver fat dispositions. body composition, which means weight loss, fat loss, and lab chemistry profiles in overweight patients suffering from mild to moderate NFD. Now, the report also showed a few of the patients had a severe level of fatty liver. They also had that in there too. Not a lot of them, but there was a few of them. 12 overweight outpatients with a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, ages from 56 and 56 to 62 to 72. And they had a body mass, they put their body masses because they wanted to check their fat inches as well. Voluntarily participants in this double-blind, see, that makes this a legitimate study. It's a double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover trial. That's a big factor. That's what you really want to try to look for when you're looking for science, okay? All patients were allocated to receive 1 liter per day of hydrogen-rich water. They abbreviate it to HRW. Or placebo water from 28 days. The study was registered in the clinicaltrials.gov. Okay, so this wasn't in Google app. Obviously, it wasn't. Here's the conclusion. They did an MRI, and the MRI revealed that HRW, which is hydrogen-rich water, significantly reduced liver fat accumulation in individuals with non-alcoholic liver disease within the 28 days follow-up compared to the placebo. You guys see what I'm saying here? Isn't that crazy? So this is science. So if you know somebody with a fatty liver disease, or maybe you might be overweight, if you're not sure you have fatty liver disease and you've been overweight 20 pounds plus for 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, without even doing an ultrasound or an MRI, most likely you have fatty liver disease. So one of the simplest and fastest ways to get to reverse that, not the only way, because I'm going to go the 2 other ways, but one of the things you must do, you got to start somewhere, right? So why not start with the simplest and fastest way? And that's change your drinking water to hydrogen-rich water, or scientific name is molecular hydrogen H2. You can email me at bill@billmabrycoaching.com, and I'll send you more information. And I'll send you a couple of videos showing that not all waters are the same, and how we test waters for contamination. And it also shows, science has been telling us that bottled water has plastic particles in it for a few years now. It's been on the media. The media is even showing the actual experiment pulling plastic out of people's bottled drinking water. And some of those plastic particles are large enough to, when you put it up to a light, you can actually see the particles in there. So how's that doing to your brain? Dementia is on the rise. Alzheimer's is on the rise. Mental issues with humans, with people in the United States, on the rise. Put 2 to 2 together here. Let's see what, let's see it. Okay, so the first thing you'd want to do is change the type of water. Number 2, you need to understand the power of this 2,000-year-old way of eating, which is intermittent fasting. And so what I've done is I've also went into the research sites. Like I said, I'm not Googling this stuff. And I went into a research site, which is the actual test was done by Frontiers in Nutrition. And the research was published in the National Library of Medicine. Now, the National Library of Medicine is similar to PubMed.gov. It's an accumulation of all kinds of testing, clinical scientific tests done throughout the world, or like by USC or Boston College or Washington College, something like that. And so their research showed an improvement on whatever, and they'll publish it, and the National Library, it'll be published in the National Library of Medicine. Now, most of these medical sites you have to pay for. And so there is an expense to get the actual test. So instead of you guys spend the money, I'll spend the money and I'll just give you the information. Okay. So what did Frontiers in Nutrition publish in the National Library of Medicine? Okay, here's the title of it. It's called The Effect of Intermittent Fasting on Non-Alcoholic Fatty Liver. And in that it says objective to estimate the effects of intermittent fasting on adults who have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And this is the results. A total of 6 studies involving 417 people, not rats, with fatty liver disease. So what they did basically was they took 6 different studies, researched them. It involved 472 people who were involved in those studies. And this is the conclusion that they came up with. Intermittent fasting is beneficial for weight management and reversing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay, so that's number 2. So number 1, change the type of water you're drinking. That's going to have an effect and reverse a non-alcoholic fatty liver. Then on top of that, you want to do intermittent fasting and understand what that means, because that's going to also help to reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now, so you have number 1, you've changed your water. You have number 2, you're now intermittent fasting. So how much more effective are you going to be able to reverse non-alcoholic fatty liver disease in a short amount of time? It's going to escalate. Now, what is the third protocol that we use for our clients on our online personal coaching? Well, the other one is, and I've done plenty of videos on this one, is a good high dietary fat, low carb. Whoa, wait a minute, Bill. Hold it here. Good high dietary fat, and I have a fatty liver? How does that make sense? Why in the world? Why would I want to eat a high fat meal if I already have a fatty liver? It's going to make me fatter. No, it doesn't work that way. I said high good dietary fat. I didn't say bad fat. I said high good dietary fat. And on my YouTube channel and in my online personal coaching, we also teach our clients by giving them a training book on what is a high good dietary fat. You actually can go into Amazon.com and go into books, and then type my name in there, Bill Mabry. And I actually have a book I published in there that will explain what a high fat, low carb diet is and why it's so beneficial for so many disease models, including reversing type 2 diabetes and a fatty liver. But anyway, so we use this third protocol as part of our program to help people not only lose fat weight or fat inches, but also reverse many disease models, including starving cancer cells, as a way to reverse type 2 diabetes and a fatty liver disease and obesity. And here's what the science, this particular case study was published in the National Academy of Science. This is a different scientific site that I go to look up different researches, actual science researches. Like I said, this is not coming from Google. I don't go for Google. Actually, the only time I go for Google if I'm looking for certain scriptures I want to understand better, or if I'm looking for rental homes, I want to rent for Big Bear Lake, something like that. I don't go in there for any kind of research on science or research on how to lose weight or more educational information. I don't go there at all. But here's what this is the title of this research, which is using a good high dietary fat, low carb meal plan to reverse a non-alcoholic fatty liver. It's called The Effects of a Ketogenic Diet. Now, ketogenic diet is just another word for high good dietary fat, low carb. It's not a high protein diet. Get that out of your mind. When you hear the word keto, do not look at it as a high protein diet. It is not. That is the misconception. Most of these health professionals are telling their clients and patients, and even doctors are doing it. You cannot go on a ketogenic diet because it's high protein, or you can't go on because it's too high of fat, it's going to cause your cholesterol to go up. No. A ketogenic diet is good dietary fat that your body has been using for generations and generations and generation, and we have not evolved away from using good fat as our main source of energy. That's why here in the United States there are so many fat people. They've gotten away from what our body was designed to do in the first place, and that's burn fat. And it's gone to burning carbohydrates, and we're overloading our bodies with carbs, causing us to get fat. And the body has no way of ever getting into burning your own stored body fat because it doesn't need to. Carbohydrates are much easier to go after for energy. So why would it need to? You're eating 4, 5, 6 meals a day. It will never jump into your own fat stores. That's why people are so fat. They keep getting fatter. So if somebody tells you, oh, you got to eat 5, 6, 7 meals a day in order to lose weight, that's BS. That's wrong. Totally wrong. It's totally going against science, and it's totally going against what our ancestors did, and we have not evolved away from our ancestors at all, period. Doctors are finally seeing this, and they're now getting on YouTube, and they're now doing seminars, and they're now trying to reboot everybody's brains on that. So let me read you this scientific research and what they found. A ketogenic diet is an effective treatment for a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's what this one found out. So number 1, change the type of water you're drinking to hydrogen-rich water, which is molecular hydrogen H2, which science is showing helps to reverse a non-fatty liver disease and helps to reverse type 2 diabetes. That's the first one you should start with. That's the fastest and easiest one to start with. Number 2, look into intermittent fasting. Start doing some intermittent fasting. Now, I just published a new book in Amazon.com books. Same way, go in there and just put it, type in books, type in my name, Bill Mabry, and the book was just published yesterday, and it's called Advantage to Intermittent Fasting. Get that book. It's going to fully educate you on the exact reason why you must do this, along with changing the type of waters. Number 3, you got to change the type of food you're eating and the time you're eating and how many times you're eating. And once you do that, then you're going to see the byproduct of all this is you're going to lose fat inches. It's that simple. I mean, think about it. Intermittent fasting. If you don't eat any calories, it's almost impossible that you won't lose some fat inches. Because if you don't eat any calories for 16, 18, 20, or 24 hours, how can you tell me you can't burn some of that fat off? You can. Now, at the very beginning, when your body starts to get acclimated to burning fat, you may not you may not jump into fat burning for 12 to 16 hours. But eventually, the 16, 18, 20s, 22s, and 24-hour fasting intermittently, or every other day, if we like to call it, you are going to burn fat because there's a deficit. You're not eating any calories. So you're not bringing any if you're not bringing any calories in that day, then your body has to jump after something to burn. And if there's no more carbs left to burn, what's it going to go after? Your own stored fat cell. That's simple. Okay, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some information on how dangerous a non-alcoholic fatty liver is. So if you have friends or family members that you know might have this, please share this video with them. Okay? Thank you guys, and you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys at the next video.